I really love notebooks. Like really like notebooks. And I think I did one of these videos in like 2021, 2022, something along those lines. At that point, I used one journal for everything because that was what worked at the time, but now it's not working quite the same way. I'm somebody who really does like segmenting things and having a place for everything. So finding a way of journal that does that for me was really good. There's also just some stuff that I kind of had to have different places. You'll see, you'll see, I'll explain it as we go. This is how I journal. So there are 4 main places and systems I use, and I'm going to go through these individually and kind of show you how I use each one, and we'll finish with the main one, which is kind of like a commonplace catch-all. Everything that doesn't fit in any other journal goes in that one. So there still is a little bit of chaos. It's me. There's always going to be a point where organisation stops and praying and hoping that it turns out okay begins. So number 1 is my writing/creativity journals. This is where all my ideas for my plays, all my character profiles, all that kind of stuff goes on. I found that when I was putting these ideas like in my main journal, they were kind of getting lost. I was kind of skimming over them when I looked back at the journal. But having like specific spaces that I can go and look for my creative ideas really helped me look back at them and actually doing something with the ideas that I had had. This is a common theme, but I use really cheap notebooks for this, so I'm not scared of writing down ideas that feel cheap and bad, you know? If I'm not worried about spoiling a notebook, I'm much more likely to use it, which is a big theme throughout all of these. Like, look at this. This is like such a bad, the back's completely gone, the cover's falling off. It's just a lot better for me to use these kind of really shit journals. You can see loads of different things in here, a lot of mind maps, a lot of character profiles, a lot of stage, like bird's eye view set design stuff, just working out logistics of things that I want to make in the future. A lot of collages. I'm a very visual person, so I really like to put like collages of like the kind of the vibe I guess of like the ambience of what I want the project to create, you might not know. I also do some like doodles of characters that I want to create and that the kind of like atmosphere I want around the characters. I can't draw very well, but that's okay because it doesn't matter. It's not, doesn't need to be this perfect piece of art. I just kind of need to get down the idea of what I want this character to be, who I want them to turn into. Because if they're in my head, they can't turn into anyone. Number 2, kind of on the opposite side and also kind of the same thing, it's my reading journal. Not much to say really about this one. I just kind of write down the books I've read. I've started this one very recently. I started this one when I was at uni because I was making notes of the books I was reading on my phone, and I just felt like I wanted like a visual, not digital place to put it. So I started this. I wrote all the names of the books down that I've read previously that I could remember, and then I started writing actual little reviews of all the books I read this year. Not very big. The one you can see on screen right now is actually from We Hunt the Flame, which is, there's 2 books in the duology. Please, if you like fantasy, read it. It's so good. Sorry, this is not what the video is about, but I'm just saying, We Hunt the Flame and Refreed the Stars. I'm just saying, if you like fantasy. Oh, and feeling like a little bit of a detective when you need to like go to the back to like figure out what's being talked about, because there's so much world building that it's a tad confusing, but I love that kind of thing. I might get a new one of these and like change it over because I did spill a pot noodle on it, so some of the pages I spilled, yeah. If that's not a very uni life thing to do, I don't know what is. But yeah. Number 3, and possibly my favourite type of journaling to do, that makes me sound like a nerd, is my academic journal. Now this is specifically the one that I use for drama and stuff. Any other kind of things that I'm learning will go in the one I talk about in a minute. I'll talk about that in a minute, but this is specifically for acting, and whether that's film, screen, things I've been watching or things I've been doing. that all goes in here. We specifically got told by one of our lecturers that writing notes down is a better way to connect to what you're writing and to connect to what you're learning, especially when it's something so intricate as like acting. So in here there is full like descriptions and analysis of stuff we've been doing in class. So if we've been doing an exercise, I write down about how I feel about it and how it's affected me as like a practitioner. And if you've ever taken an acting class, you know how wild some of these practices can be. Yeah, and there's also a lot of like this is gonna sound so strange, but I'm sure if you've done an acting class you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of like dissecting traumatic experiences and how that's affecting my art and how I can stop that from affecting it in a negative way and how I can stop it affecting me in a negative way. There's a lot of self-discovery that happens in this particular book. I wouldn't want anyone else reading it. Even though half of it is academic, half of it is very personal. They kind of go together in the field that I'm looking into. In the field that I'm looking into? Why did I say it like that? That was so weird. Pack it up, Shakespeare wannabe, pack it up. But yeah, I will also write down reviews of plays that I've watched, whether that be in real life or I get access to Drama Online with my course, so I watch a lot of things on there. Talks that I have with people, we've got actors sometimes coming in to give us talks, so I write down notes about that. And something I would also like to say about taking notes about things is if you can, and if you can allow yourself to do it, is try and allow yourself to put notes that aren't particularly formal. One way I learn really well is if my notes are ridiculous sometimes. Like a lot of actually putting the information down, obviously, but also adding like little things in like the margin or something that is like basically taking the piss. That's how I remember things. I remember that I was doing a review of Wuthering Heights, the film version, well the kind of the TV series film was put out in 2 parts, but you can buy it as a collective film, with Tom Hardy in it. That one, you know the one I mean, 2008 I believe it was, maybe, I can't remember. Whoa, the sun has just come out so viciously. Okay, unnecessary. I apologise if the lighting's gone all funny. I'm sorry. What was I saying? Tom Hardy, Wuthering Heights, 2008 question mark. Yes, that's the one. I remember writing a lot of serious notes about that because obviously there was a big thing about like the romanticization and de-romanticization of like that story. But I also went on a massive rant about how Heathcliff hit the dog, and that was one of the worst parts of the movie for me. I felt so bad. And then finally, the type of journaling that I've been doing for the longest period of time, which I would try and hold them all up to you, but that is a little bit impossible. But that is kind of classic journaling, commonplace, catch-all type of moment. This is where I do everything else that I haven't previously mentioned for the other journals. And there's been a massive progression on how I've done this and how I've wanted to kind of convey the daily life, because I put about my daily life in there, I put about my emotions in there, I like to analyse how I'm feeling. I think it's one of the most powerful tools for me personally. Obviously it's not going to fix all of your problems or be able to completely dissolve any emotions, but it's a nice way to process them for yourself. No better companion for going through a breakup than a journal, personally. I found that incredibly helpful. So when I started doing like everyday journaling, I literally would just like stick random stuff in. The fact that this says 2020 bring it on, by the way, is absolutely hilarious to me. Little did I know what was about to happen. I would just have loads of collages of just random things that I thought that I would look back and know exactly what was going on in that day. And I do kind of, but I now prefer to have more of a equal, if not more, writing than sticking things in. I prefer, like, I'm a very visual person, but I prefer when I'm journaling to have a lot of words, because it feels like to me in that moment that if I'm writing more, it's more for myself in the moment rather than my like future self, because I don't really mind if my future self reads all of the words or not. I don't really care if they want to read it. They can if they want to, but it's for me in this moment. Sorry, future self. It's very clear to me seeing it go from purely pictures to pictures with a bit more writing to now much more writing than like ephemera, basically. What do I fill so many of these journals with? Great question. Thank you for asking. I like to do daily recounts. I like to remember what's going on. One of the big things, one of my greatest fears is memory loss and wasting time. I can't think about it too much because I might start crying. But I hate the idea of memory loss. It makes me feel really funky. I hate it. Not today. Not thinking about that now. Not today. So knowing that I have something to look back on, of an account of what's been going on, is a really, really comforting thing for me. Emotional, like, analysis. Analysis sounds really gross in the way that it makes me sound like I'm some sort of, like, science project, but I don't know how else to, like, describe it. I guess just, like, processing emotion with words and fun colours. I love processing with colour. Sometimes I will just scribble on a page different colours that I'm feeling in that moment to try and make sense of what the hell is going on. Next day I can come back and kind of be like, oh, I can see how I was feeling because there is green or red or pink or whatever on the page, or yellow. I'm much more likely to do that kind of thing though when it's a negative emotion, because when I'm feeling overwhelmingly positive, I find it a lot easier to put it into words. I will at the start of my journals write a start date. I like to kind of know when the period of my life was that I'm about to read again about, if I'm looking back on a journal. So I've just found a sticker that I really love, that I forgot that isn't that really cool? I love that. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I use a lot of ephemera. Let's look at a different one. I don't want to look at that time of my life, apparently. Just have a good time sticking everything. See, sometimes I don't even fill out because I can't be bothered, and that's okay because I've at least got the pictures there that I can kind of see what's going on. In these books, I will also write random information that I found. I'm a massive fan of pub quiz. I love knowing random facts and stuff. So I love to just write down different things. Once I wrote down like the whole FNAF lore when I was like, before I went to go see the FNAF movie, because I wanted to remember what the lore was. Not that the lore was very relevant for the movie, but whatever. So I've got that in a journal that's pretty recent, which I find hilarious. Random interactions I've had with people on the street. If you're my friend, you know that for some reason I have a lot of random interactions that are just a bit mental. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why there's so much of a volume of this, but I do just get loads of people telling me random facts all the time. Once a man came up to me in the charity shop and told me the history of the teddy bear, and then told me like the history of like reindeers and why people think they can fly. If you know that story, you know that it was a bit mental for some man to just randomly tell me. I was like, okay, thank you. And I love these random interactions. I love understanding different people. I love, this is going to sound not in a creepy way, but I love writing down people's interactions with each other that I see. I'm a big people watcher. I'm a massive people watcher, and I know some people kind of think that's creepy. And I don't mean it in a creepy way. I love seeing humans interact with other humans. I love it. I think it's really fun, and it's really good for being able to build characters from that if I can understand different aspects of the human condition, as my lecturer would say. I do have a very, very big impulse to write everything down to the point where I've kind of had to cut back because there was one point in my life where I was journaling an unhealthy amount. It was like every spare second and to the point where I would do journaling rather than any other, like anything else. I would disregard responsibilities because I wanted to write. And it still is a massive part of my life. But I've consciously cut back writing everything ever all the time because it got to a point where that wasn't sustainable, that wasn't particularly healthy for me at that time. I also use my journal for just random things, to-do lists, like daily recap. Doodling, again, I'm not a fantastic drawer, but I find it fun. So, you know. Ranting about, like, the book I'm reading in a more informal way than the book journal. Talking about my favourite characters that I really like at the moment. The amount of times I've done entries on the Marauders is ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. I write down like dreams that I've had, and I write down song lyrics that I really like. That's a big thing I do. I love writing down song lyrics. Sometimes I do 4 pages of just lyrics that have resonated to me at a particular time. I've always done that, and it's really weird to go back to like 2020 and see the songs I was listening to then. That is wild to me. So you know what I journal and what I put in there, but how do I do it? What's my process? So I will either make a cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee if it's not too late. Sometimes I will put on some music, whether that be just on my phone or sometimes a record or a CD. If I'm feeling particularly artsy, I will put on some of my poetry vinyls. I've got a Shakespeare one, or maybe if I'm feeling particularly artsy, I will put on my full script reading of Hamlet that I have on vinyl. And yeah, I'll get myself a drink, I will open my journal up, and I will try and get some pictures from that day if I'm home from uni. If not, I won't have pictures, I will just have the ephemera, so that could be receipts from the day. That could be a bus ticket, it could be a train ticket if I'm taking a train. Don't really take trains much anymore, but if I'm taking a train for whatever reason, the train ticket, I guess. Just random things. Stickers. I love stickers. They don't have to have anything to do with it. I just love stickers so much. I love stickers. Like, I am obsessed with stickers. I don't know what it is. They just fill me with so much dopamine. I love stickers. I'll stick it all in, kind of figuring out different placements I want. I might add some washi tape, I might add some like colours, I might add some little doodles, and I will write about, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you, you just shook, I'm so sorry. If I am in a rush, I will just open the page up and I will write, and that will be it. And that's okay, and that's fine. Doesn't matter. I normally aim for about 2 pages a day if I can. If not, I won't. Even if it's half a page or a sentence. Sometimes I genuinely will go to write something and I'll be so tired, but I'll be like, I need to journal today. I need to, like, because I don't want to do it in the morning. And I will literally just write, hello, it's been a stressful, and I'll stop the sentence halfway and I'll be like, I can't be bothered. I'm not going to journal if I don't want to, because else I'll just start hating it, and that would actually make me so sad. Because I don't think I could stop even if I didn't like it. So I don't want to start hating it. This video is very rambly and talkaty. Hopefully I can add some clips to make it a little bit more put together. So I'm not just like talking at you all the time. Hopefully you can have some visuals to look at as well. But that's the end of the video. If you journal in a specific way, if you use more than one, if you use one, tell me, please. I would love to know about your journaling habits, routines, whatever. But thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well. Please remember to click the like button, subscribe if you want, and maybe leave a comment. And I will see you in my next video. Bye! Also, did you see that I got a Shakespeare bust? That's so exciting.